Pakistan and the International Monetary Fund have failed to reach a clear agreement to unlock the crucial $1.1 billion in bailout funds. This comes hours after local media reported that all matters were settled and the Prime Minister had approved the deal. According to reports, the IMF is not satisfied with the current prices of petroleum and energy and has sought more time for negotiations. The IMF delegation left the country after 10 days of talks. The lender has been at odds with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's government over unlocking the latest tranche of a draft of $6.5 billion package agreed in 2019. Reports quoted Pakistan's Finance Secretary as saying that a deal would soon be reached and that some points still need to be addressed. Pakistan and the IMF failed to reach a staff-level agreement, which is needed to release the funds. Pakistan has been host to the talks since late last week in a bid to access the funds, which are crucial for the country's $350 billion economy that is facing a balance of payments crisis, with foreign exchange reserves dipping below $3 billion. IMF wants Pakistan to boost the low tax base, end tax exemptions for the export sector, and raise artificially low petrol, electricity and gas prices, meant to help low-income families. It is also pushing for Pakistan to keep a sustainable amount of US dollars in the bank through guarantees of further support from friendly nations such as Saudi Arabia, China and the UAE. This comes a day after reports from Pakistan said that petrol pumps in cities across the Punjab province were facing fuel shortages. And now Pakistan government has warned oil companies against hoarding of petrol. Years of financial mismanagement and political instability have damaged Pakistan's economy. The country has been pushed to the limit by devastating floods last year and is trying to avoid an economic meltdown. Bringing you the latest on the Pakistan and International Monetary Fund deal, they have failed to reach a clear agreement to unlock the crucial $1.1 billion in bailout funds. Now, reports quoted Pakistan's Finance Secretary as saying that a deal would soon be reached and that some points still need to be addressed. The latest is Pakistan and the IMF have failed to reach a staff-level agreement which is needed to release the funds. Pakistan has been hosting the talks since late last week in a bid to access these funds, which are of course crucial for the country's $350 billion economy that is currently facing a balance of payments crisis, with foreign exchange reserves dipping below $3 billion. Now, the IMF wants Pakistan to boost the low tax base and to end tax exemptions for the export sector. Also to raise the artificially low petrol, electricity and gas prices that are meant to help the low-income families in the country. Pakistan and the International Monetary Fund failed to meet a consensus on the bailout fund. Things seem to be getting worse. Now, for more on this, we're being joined by our Pakistan Bureau Chief, Anas Malik. Hello to you, Anas. Now, there seem to be conflicting reports earlier about the IMF bailout. What are the latest details that you have for us regarding the failure of this bailout package from the IMF?
Well, Alison, what we know so far is that there is some sort of a consensus between Pakistan and the IMF on the way forward. The MEFE or Memorandum of Economic and Financial Policies has been given by the IMF to the Pakistani government. There is a broader consensus within, at least at political level, where the Prime Minister has signed off on adhering to the IMF demands. Now, the IMF has essentially called for four things. First and foremost being the reformation implementation of the economic plan with regards to the debt restructuring, then cutting down on other sideline expenses and not cutting down on the developmental budget and economic reforms in all of the sectors. That will be an uphill task for Pakistan to do, but negotiations or policy level decisions would continue. The olive branch for Islamabad is that it would not have to wait for a board meeting to endorse whatever the staff level people agree upon or the staff level agreement adheres to or talks about, because the virtual consultations would be done with Washington, and that would be some sort of a sigh of relief for Islamabad going forward. Alison?
Absolutely, Anas. Thank you very much for bringing us the latest details on that IMF bailout fund. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.